I think we're live, hopefully. Jamie here. It is, I don't know, what day is it? It's the 10th of February. I need to check that before I go live because every time I'm like, what's the date today? It's Wednesday, February 10th. I'm Jamie Trull. I am here with my friend and preferred vendor, Jackie Coder. We are going to be talking about a bunch of stuff related to taxes because you guys, everybody, all of y'all are thinking about your taxes right now. I've gotten so many questions about it into the group. We are currently live right now in Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners, my Facebook group. If you're watching me over on YouTube, make sure to come into the group. If you are watching me on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, I'm glad you're watching wherever you're watching me from. I feel like that's like what people say on TV, wherever you're tuning in from. So yes, so today we wanted, I basically last minute called Jackie in and I was like, Jackie, yep, we need to have a chat. We need to have a little chat with people about taxes for this year, because remember your personal taxes due April 15th, right? If you have to file a 1065 for a partnership, or you've got to file an 1120S, those are all March 15th, right, Jackie? So
yeah, right around the corner. Yep.
Yeah, right around the corner. I mean, we're literally, and I am always the queen of procrastination, even on taxes, which is funny because I don't really do that. And I'm like relatively I'm a CPA, so I'm relatively knowledgeable on taxes, but I still put it off because I just don't want to deal with it sometimes. So it does feel like it comes rather quickly. So we are kind of knocking on the door, and I wanted to have this now versus in a couple of weeks, because I really want to encourage people to make sure they have a plan for their taxes now. Even if you don't have all your documents in a row, make sure if you want to outsource that you've already kind of started the process of finding that person, because a lot of tax preparers are already starting to cut off new clients right now. So, and even including some of our preferred vendors are no longer taking new clients because of the fact that they just want to make sure they can serve the clients that they have. So make sure you, if you're thinking about it, that you are looking for somebody now, and our preferred vendors list is of course a great place to start. We have updated it with who's still taking new clients, so you can find that. And Jackie is one of the people on our preferred vendors list. So Jackie, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
So I am Jackie Coder, and I own Coder Accounting Inc. Hi. Hi, Joyce. And basically, I'm an accountant. I'm an EA, and that's kind of a question that we get. And I have over 20 years of experience. I went officially on my own about 8 years ago. I was a supervisor for a smaller accounting firm in New York remotely, and I decided to go on my own because I wanted to help clients differently than your standard accounting firm does. And that's how it all started, and it's been quite a ride, and I love it. I love my clients.
So tell us, that was a good point. So you said you're an EA, which is an enrolled agent, right? How does that differ? Because I think a lot of people think when they think about tax preparation, they think about a CPA. So how is an EA different than a CPA?
So the difference how it started, where obviously you graduate college and you want to become a CPA, right? It's like the next step. You get an accounting degree, you become a CPA.
Do you? I mean, only a few people.
I went to school in New York.
I did. I don't know why I did, but I did. Yeah, go on.
We don't know why we did it. So you go to Deloitte. When I graduated, I worked at Deloitte. That was the next step, like one of the big
EY.
Yeah, see, right? So it was like they stuck me in audit department versus tax department, and I couldn't stand it. So I left it as quickly as possible to a mid-sized firm. And with moving around to figure out what I wanted to do, the CPA just kind of was put on the back burner. And then I'm like, I'll get a master's. So then I got my master's. And then I realized I don't want to do audit. And when I say audit, it doesn't mean like tax audits, correspondence with the IRS. It means those like nonprofit audits with you tick and tie and all the different colors and sit there looking through folders to make sure the check.
I did that. 3 years. 3 years in audit.
See, I left.
Corporate audit.
I did that.
A 3 years in corporate audit.
It's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? See? Yes, Brie, exactly.
I don't know. Tax is pretty bad too, though. I'll just say that. Everyone else is like, I don't want to do either of those.
Right, true. So I became, when I was growing, when I was like building up my career, I realized, wait, I need to really push towards the tax side. I really liked helping people that way. Not the actual taxes. Whoever says they like doing taxes, don't trust them. I like my clients.
You like helping people, right? And you have a skill set in something that you can help them with.
Exactly.
I 100% agree with you. Yes.
Right. I don't like the return.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to become an EA. And that way I could really help with the power of attorney. So when I noticed some of my clients that I was helping in New York were getting audits of their taxes and correspondence, it was the next step was to become an EA to make sure that I am proficient, and really all my continuing education is only in taxes, none of the other stuff in audit. And I could help them with all the power of attorney needs and work through audits with them with tax audits.
Yeah. So I think that's awesome. I think that that's the thing. A lot of people don't necessarily understand, like, what's an accountant, what's a CPA, what's an EA, what do all these people do? And I think we default to CPA. CPA is just, we took the CPA test, right? Like, we took a test and passed it and became a CPA. But CPAs, it's not necessarily the same level of like focused knowledge. So a CPA covers things like you said, corporate audit, there's some legal in there, and we've taken the test, but that doesn't necessarily qualify you to go serve clients. I personally feel like directly just from taking the CPA, I think you have to take other continuing education in specific areas in order to be able to do that. And the EA certification is kind of a very specific, like, tax and tax preparation and all of that, which I think is really, really useful. So I personally say, I don't think there's any lack of equivalency between them for tax work. I think actually an EA, that's somebody that is focused in on the tax piece. I'm a CPA. You don't want me to do your taxes, y'all. You don't want me to do them. I'm just telling you. Jackie's going to do them way better and way faster than I ever would. So
I have a lot of clients that are CPAs that don't practice that come to me with their taxes.
Exactly. Yeah, you have this. Yes. I can get by, but I'm not gonna be as good as Jackie would be. So okay, so Jackie, let's talk about the subject of this, which is, why would you say that it is important to outsource your tax preparation? We'll start with just tax preparation for now.
So just basic tax preparation. So it's not necessarily, I think every small business owner gets to that point where they wonder, is it time for me to not do this, right?
Yes.
You want to save money, obviously, when you're just starting up. We're all small business owners. Like, you just have to realize, like, we're all the same. We're just doing different things. So we understand when you get a good tax preparer, when you get a good CPA, EA, accountant that understands what being a small business owner, we understand that in the beginning, you're saving your money. You don't want to outsource things that you're like, oh, I got this. But there's a time and a place where no matter how small you are or how big you are, there's a time when there's just not enough space in your head. I always say it, like, there's only so much head space we have. And it gets to the point where I'm just going to outsource this part to make sure that it's done right. It's done efficiently. I'm audit proof. And they know what they're looking at it from the outside point of view and from an objective point of view. And we're a team. So a tax preparer, you can go anywhere and get your taxes done by a tax preparer. That you can give them your P&L and they'll go, or you can give them your receipts, or you can give them your Excel spreadsheet. I know a lot of people don't have an actual P&L yet. It's fine. Yeah. And then they will do, and then they will enter your taxes. They will enter a tax return, and that's it. However, when you go to someone like me or any of the other preferred vendors, you're getting someone who's providing a service outside of just entering a Schedule C, which is what a lot of people have, right? So we're not just entering the Schedule C, we're looking at it from, we want you to grow, we want you to be successful, and we want you to be in the legal realm of things. And you're not always up to date on it. And there's a lot of credits that even our programs, we all have the fancy programs, right? All of us do. But even our programs aren't necessarily notifying us you're missing a credit. We have to get that education to give you those credits, to give you those additional deductions, and to see what really needs to be reported as income versus not. So, it's just that outside point of view, that education that we have. And we're a team player. We want you to grow. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I hope I'm making sense.
That's absolutely true. I love what you said too about like, we only have so much brain space, right? Like, do you really want to? And I say this with tax prep and also bookkeeping. Like, can you do it? Probably. Are you going to do it as well as somebody else? Probably not. Do you want to use your brain space to learn it and to take the time to do it, right? Knowing that even putting in that time and energy, it's probably not going to be done as well or as correctly as a professional would do it, right? Like, there are reasons that we have certifications in these things. So it's interesting to me that many people are just like, I can do my own taxes. There's a software, right? There's tons of softwares. But there's a lot of things that those softwares miss and are easy to miss because you don't have that continuing education that a tax preparer does to go dig up like, oh, here's an obscure one. If you think TurboTax is asking you about every single deduction you could potentially be qualified for, it is not. It looks at you and it's like, here's probably like the few things that apply to you, and like everything else you'd have to go search for. But you have to know it exists before you go searching for it, right?
Exactly.
So I just think, especially as a business owner, personal taxes, if you really want to try your hand, if you got a W-2 income and not really a whole heck of a lot else, okay, I will concede there. But business owners, I just think that there's a lot more opportunities and things to be missed as well. And there's also more risk. Let's remember, there's also more risk. Like, once you're not too worried about an audit when you're like, all I got is W-2s, right? But when you're a business owner, there's a lot more at risk for what you're putting into your taxes. And you also want, right, Jackie, if you get audited, what happens with your clients if one of them gets audited?
So if any of my clients get audited, they send me the documentation immediately. I got this from the IRS. I got this from the state. And we handle it for them. And I get a power of attorney immediately. And I literally respond to the IRS immediately. And 9 times out of 10, it's literally this automated letter that goes out and they just want you to kind of reiterate what you prepared. But it's stressful for the client. So they know that I just took care of it for them and then it's cleared up. And that's it. I personally, knock on wood, I don't think I have anything real wood here, actually. It's a Wayfair. There's no real wood. I haven't had a client, one of my clients that have been really audited. I've had clients that have come to me who have had serious audits that we've cleaned up. But one of my clients haven't had that, major audit. It's informational audits that get really scary when you get this letter in the mail saying, prove your dependence and prove your... Yeah.
You're like, what? Nobody, I'm pretty sure the last thing any person wants to get a letter about is a letter from the IRS. Like, I'm pretty sure that there are very few letters that are worse than getting a letter from the IRS as a business owner that you're just like, nobody. So it's all fine and dandy, doing things your own way until that happens. And then you're like, oh man. So to me also, like, working with a professional, it's kind of like having insurance, right? It's kind of like, okay, number one, it should save you money, but even if it doesn't, you're paying for that insurance that, like, okay, this is done, to the standard. This is, more correct than it would be if I had done it. And you have somebody who could help you in the case, hopefully. And that is a question you should ask. Can you represent me in case I'm audited? That's a question I do recommend people ask to the people who are preparing their taxes, because you want to know the answer to that question. But I just think nobody wants to get that letter, and you want to have somebody that you're like, okay, I know what to do. I can just go to Jackie. right, she'll help me with this. And then you don't have to take up, again, more of that brain space and that worry. We have enough things to be worried about, y'all. We don't need to be worried about that, right? So I just think that's really important. Also, from what I understand, it appears that statistics would show, again, I have no sourcing, but it appears that statistics would show that you're actually less likely, right, to be audited if you have a professional prepare your taxes. Is that what you've heard as well, Jackie?
I've heard that as well. Yeah, I've heard that as well. And I've noticed that there's certain preparers that get audited more often.
Yes. So yes, it depends on the preparer, right? That is important.
Going with the right preparer. If you do have a preparer, that you need to ask questions as well. Like you have to be comfortable with that preparer.
Yes, and that's something that I say a lot, is that there's a lot of questions you want to ask to make sure that you are getting the right preparer, right? There's a lot of questions that you want to make sure that you're asking about like their qualifications and, business, do they understand this type of business, et cetera. You also want to make sure that like you guys jive and that you will feel comfortable asking whatever questions you have. I very much believe that is so important in a service provider, is to not feel like you're going to get judged, right? Not feel like that's where a lot of people are. They're like, oh, it's a little scary to like open up my finances to someone else. It's like walking around naked, like, hey, everybody, like look at all the things that I don't want anybody else to see. And you're just handing all that information over. I think that's one of the things that is one of the stopping points of people taking the step to outsource, both bookkeeping and taxes. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, something stuck in my throat.
I coughed.
Oh my God.
And I told you.
I know you made me cough, Jackie. I'm gonna let you talk and speak to that so that I can. All I have is coffee, which is not going to be really helpful for this particular situation. But you want to feel comfortable, right, Jackie? You want to feel comfortable with the person that you are having do this work for you.
So a lot of new clients that come to me are scared to ask questions and are scared to show me. Not going.
Stuck in my throat. It's fine. No one's here, so it's okay. Everyone hears a cough, and they're like. Continue.
A lot of people are nervous. It's hard to show people your finances. It's really hard. It's hard to say and also people who messed up, right? Like, mess up. You mess up. You end up. You're growing, you're putting your hands in too many different things, and then mistakes happen. Everyone is human, and you make a mistake. And for some reason, I find that maybe it's just small business owners, maybe it's across the board, I don't know, but we could take care of it all, right? We got this. We do everything else. We could do it ourselves too. We have
so true.
Right? I have everything. Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're like, we got it. I don't got it anymore. Like all of a sudden, it's like, never mind. I don't have any of it. But you're so right. You're so right.
We got this. We're good. We're badasses. We're beautiful women. We know what we're doing. And then it escalates, and it can be really intimidating and overwhelming to reach out to someone and say, I need help for any aspect of your business at all, especially finances.
Yes.
And one of the things that I always say is to clients and friends and potential clients and just anybody that I do an intro chat with is there's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all the same. We're all doing the same struggle. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. We all know things that we're experts in, and we all know things that we're not experts in, but we try to be. And then we finally, outsource. I mean, eventually, I got a new phone system. And I spent more time with Zoom phones than finally I was like, you know what? I got to get an IT guy in here and just set it up for me because this is ridiculous.
Your highest and best use as a business owner is probably not. So I'm going to give you guys, anybody know Michael Hyatt? So I watched a speech from Michael Hyatt, and it continues to be in my mind whenever I start trying to do something that is out of what I should be doing, right? So what you want to do as a business owner, what's going to be best, most efficient for your time, and is also going to move the needle most, is to spend most of your time in the desire zone. What is the desire zone? That's things that you're passionate about and things you're proficient in, right? So those are the two things. There's actually 4 different zones. I'm not going to go through all of them, but that's like the sweet spot. Like, what are you really good at and what do you love? Spend as much time as you can there. Find other people to do the other stuff, and you're good. That your business is just going to go.
It's going to skyrocket.
It's just going to go. What happens though is there's also the flip side of the desire zone is the drudgery zone. That is the things that we are not passionate about and we're not particularly proficient in.
Nope.
For most people, that is taxes.
Yes.
And probably bookkeeping as well.
Yeah.
But how much time are we spending and expending of our energy in that zone that we could use for something else, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm a really big proponent, I talk about it all the time, of having your support team around you, always making sure that you have the people that you can consult with and ask questions. So let's talk a little bit about that, because one of the things that has come up in the COVID world is that a lot of people maybe had an accountant or they thought that they did. And then when the world fell apart, right? All of a sudden they realized, okay, I don't have a person that I can ask these questions to. They just didn't feel like they were getting the support that they needed. I hear that all the time. A lot of people joined my group because they were like, I asked my accountant and they couldn't help me, so now I'm here, right? So what would you say kind of to that people should look for when they are, if they want to make sure that they have somebody who can be there and can help them when needed, right? May not be COVID related, but something else comes up specifically in their situation. They're like, I need to ask somebody this question. What would you have them look for in a tax person?
Okay, so there's so many different levels of service that accountants provide, and what everyone knows is the tax preparation. We meet once a year, we do your tax prep, and we give you some tips and tricks moving forward, and just some analysis based on what we just prepared in history, right? And that's it. Then the next level of service would typically be some tax planning, where we meet and do some tax planning. And when I mean tax planning, I don't mean December 15th, where we're saying go buy a truck. For some reason, that's the thing.
Don't do that.
Like,
go buy a truck.
So this year, trucks were hard to come by. So I didn't know what to do with that. But so, like, I'm talking about October time, when you have your 9 months of financials in front of you and your bookkeeping set up for 9 months. And then we're looking at what happened and we're seeing what the implications of that will be. So we have tax planning, and that's where that last quarter of the year, you could breathe and make some choices. You could choose nothing, or you could choose all of them or one of them, or it doesn't matter, but you have that time. It's not this panic. Right, exactly. Don't spend all your money. So, there's not this panic to implement different things in that last quarter. So that's tax planning. That's the real tax planning. The next level is, and what I love it is, I call it a strategic partner. So that's where we meet throughout the year. It could be quarterly, it could be monthly, it depends on, every client's so different. But essentially, I'm a strategic partner in your business. So you have anything that you need, you reach out. And that's where we meet. Most of my clients are quarterly. I have a few monthly. Most people don't need it monthly. And we meet and we go over your quarterly bookkeeping. We go over your financials. We talk about what happened, what's happening, and what fell through, or what big thing is going on. Or example, April through June, with everything. Oh, yeah.
I'm just putting up comments. You can keep talking.
That's like, oh, yeah, I want to read it. But, with April through June, with everything that happened, I met more with my retainer clients than I did ever before, because they needed help, and that's what I'm there for. So you need to see what you want long-term for your business. You need to see what you want for the future. So it might just be something as simple as, I'm not ready for quarterlies. I'm not quite ready for tax planning. Let's just start that relationship on an annual basis. Let's just get that going, and then you grow into it. I really feel like my favorite clients are my quarterly clients, my retainer clients, because I feel like I see them grow, I see the struggles, and we become friends, and I'm there to help them. And that's really what we love to do. It's not the tax preparation. It's helping you grow and strive and succeed and survive when the world shuts down.
Yes. Absolutely. And it can, as we've seen, it can, right? And I think that that's one of the things that people got frustrated about during the COVID situation, is that maybe they were paying an accountant, but they were paying for their tax prep. And then when the world shut down, they were like, well, my accountant won't help me, or maybe didn't have capacity to help, but that wasn't necessarily part of, you didn't necessarily have an ongoing relationship. And so I think you're exactly right, Jackie. First thing to start is outsource that tax prep. Start building that relationship. And then when you need it, and when you're like, actually, I would love to have somebody that I can just sit down and ask these questions to quarterly, or when things come up, that is understands my business, right? And can help me with this like PPP loan stuff, that's when it's usually time to move to kind of the next level. Now, not every accountant necessarily offers that. So that's another question you want to be asking is like, what are your different packages? And usually there's probably going to be here's your one time a year tax prep. Here's maybe your one time a year tax prep plus some like late in the year tax planning kind of stuff, right? And then there's more of that ongoing relationship. And so obviously you're going to pay more at each of those different levels for what you get. But again, it's worth it. It's like paying for insurance, where you're just like, okay, I have somebody that can help me. And so I think that's exactly what most people go through when they start off and they're like, okay, I'll get rid of the tax prep. I don't like that. And then they realize, oh, there's a lot of value in having somebody with this expertise that I can turn to when I need it. Which that's what I love. And like you said, like you love helping your clients. So I also think that COVID, truthfully, separated the good accountants from the bad accountants. So sometimes I think for people, it was just, they realized, oh shoot, my agreement doesn't cover these types of things and I need it to. In some cases, some accountants just were like, I don't know. And I think the ones that were like, all right, I don't know any of this. This is all brand new, but I'm going to roll my sleeves up and get to work and figure it out and find out how I can help my clients. Some of y'all had those accountants and you're like, I don't know what I would have done without them, right? Like that's what you want to find, is that accountant who's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done had that person not been there for me. That's the kind of people we like to partner with, like Jackie and our other preferred vendors, that are those types of people that are just like, they're out to help their clients, right? They're out to be able to help you with what you need help with. Okay. I agree. I love, like, that's what I've loved about Jackie. Like, ever since meeting you, I just love, your clients love you. I will tell you, they reach out to me all the time and they're like, Jackie's amazing. I'll mention you on something. And all of a sudden everyone's like, Jackie is so great. I'm like, wow, okay. Like, she's got a fan club, you guys. She's got a fan club in the group. So I just love it. I think it's awesome.
I love them.
It makes my heart happy. It just shows, because I'm the same. We run our businesses similarly. My business is very based on servant leadership. That is one of our core, what's it called? Not core mission. You know what I'm talking about. Core values. Yes. One of our core values is around servant leadership. And that means I'm here to serve. I'm here to lead and to serve and to help. And whatever that means, right? Of course, I have a business to run. I got to make money too. But a lot of what I do is servant leadership. Same thing with you, Jackie, too, right? Yes. And that's what I love. Let's see. I love this, Joyce. Joyce says that she's messed up in the past with business finance stuff because I never knew things or was afraid to ask questions. Yeah. And I think if you're in a relationship with any financial service provider of any sort and you're afraid to ask questions, that means it's probably not the right person. I think sometimes that's us, but a lot of times we need somebody who makes us feel comfortable, and you might be in a situation where you don't feel comfortable, and that's why I just think it's so important that you find also not just someone who's qualified. Obviously you need someone qualified, but also someone you like feel like you have a good rapport with and can talk to and would go, like, it's like the guys do like, I would have a beer with, right? Like that. And I'm like, no, it's who do I want to hang out, have a glass of wine and watch The Bachelor with? That is how I make decisions on my service providers. Plus being qualified, but also, like I just think it's really, really important. And I think women too, because most of the people are in here who are women, we're less transactional and more relational by nature. Like that, I don't mean to generalize, but in general, but I am going to generalize to say we're very relational. And so I think that we don't let our guard down unless, like, men are like, okay, show me all your qualifications and all your certificates, and then I will trust you. Women are like, show me who you are. Like, who are you though? And then I can trust you, So I just think it's really, really important for women specifically to let those walls down and let somebody help, right? Okay, any other thoughts, Jackie, that you want to share? And then I want to tell people like where to find you if they're looking for a tax preparer. And I'd love for you to share, who are your ideal clients? Like what types of clients do you typically take?
So just the final thoughts are, you have to remember, if you just reach out and schedule consultations, like I call them intro chats. Everyone calls them differently. There's no commitment. You're just learning and getting to know someone. So just reach out and schedule that call. Because once you have a few people lined up, and not just me, reach out to preferred vendors, reach out to other people, reach out and get a handle on who's out there and see just to find out, because one day you will be ready. If you're not today, you will be ready sooner than later, hopefully, to hire someone. So you have the heads up. So reach out. So that's number one. And then the next thing is, what was the question?
Well, I was just asking for any final thoughts that you had. And then I want you to tell us, who you're looking for, because you are still taking clients, right? For this
still taking
tax
clients.
season.
Yeah, we're still taking clients. The window is starting to close on who's going to be getting an extension, honestly, but we're still taking clients. And it's not because I'm pushing people off. When we're putting people on extensions, because we want to service you. And because of the busyness of the time, we can't service you properly unless you go on extension. So that's why. It's not because we don't want you and we're pushing you off. I get that a lot. Like, oh, you just don't want to deal with me. Oh, I'm sorry. Or, and it's like, no, I want to be able to service you and help you. And I won't be able to do it properly unless we put you on extension. And there's nothing wrong with going on extension. So, let's make it clear that it's
and you'll help them with that, right? So it's kind of like if you definitely are like, I really just want it done with, and I want it all filed, and I want my returns filed by April 15th and the deadlines, I would reach out as soon as you can to somebody to get that ball rolling. And figure out, they'll probably give you timelines right around, here's when we need all your stuff to make sure that we can file by this time frame. But the earlier you get that ball rolling, the better. And then even if it's, you're like, well, it's a little bit past the deadline, if you can't get everything together by that time frame, then Jackie can help you, or one of our preferred vendors, or anybody, your CPA can help you go on extension, which just means you now move the deadline to basically for personal returns October, right? So yes, so that's just important to know. But I do I do encourage people to do it sooner rather than later. We're sitting in February, but it's soon going to be March. I don't know about y'all. The first 10 days of February, I don't know what happened. It was Groundhog Day yesterday, and now it's February 10th, and I don't know what's going on. We're living, and yet January was the eternal January. So I'm not really certain what's going on with time these days. I think we're in a vortex. But
like the Twilight Zone. That's what I say. Yeah. I'm like, I feel like we're living in the Twilight Zone.
We're living in the Twilight Zone. So go ahead and get the ball rolling so that you don't wake up on March 10th and go, oh shoot, like I meant to start, to find somebody for my taxes. Like just do it. All right. Okay, guys. So y'all are awesome. I'm so glad. It looks like you guys got some value out of this. I'm so, so, so glad. Jackie, I'm so glad that you joined us. If y'all want to contact Jackie, check out our preferred vendors list above. Oh, Jackie, I didn't get to the who are the typical clients that you tend to take? Do you take service and product? Do you have specific? You take clients in all states, right?
Yes. So I take clients in all states. I do take service and I take product. I do take a wide range. I also do some nonprofits. So I know that that's a touchy, they don't know what to do with it. So I do take on some nonprofits. So we're still accepting clients, and yeah, and that's it.
That's great. Awesome. So yeah, so y'all just saying, get that ball rolling. Okay, guys, love y'all. You are awesome. Thank you, Jackie, for joining us on short notice. You were great. So much fun. Always fun. And we will talk soon, everybody. I'll see you guys. I'll be back on Friday at 1:30 Central Time for a stimulus Q&A, all about all the fun things, PPP, ERTC, whatever you want to ask me about. I'll be back on Friday. So see you guys soon. Bye.